Hi everyone, I'm just going to walk you through my skincare regimen that I've been doing. I've been using the Acne.org regimen, but I haven't been using any of their products. So in this video, I'm just going to show you what I do. So if you're interested, just keep watching. Alright, so first I am just going to wet my face here. I am making sure that I get it pretty wet before I start with my soap. And this is the Shea Moisture African Black Soap. You can get it at Target or Walmart. It's about $4 or $5. I get a lot of that in my hand and get it lathered up really nicely. And then I go in circular motions over my face for about 10 seconds. Now, if I have on makeup, that's when this would change. I would either do this twice, or I would use an oil cleanser makeup remover first, and then use the black soap afterwards. And I also rub a little bit of this on my neck as well. Alright, so next I wash all of that off of my face, and one of the key steps to the Acne.org regimen is to let your face dry. So you can either do this two ways. You can let it air dry. Sometimes I let it mostly air dry, but I kind of pat it on my neck so that it's not dripping on my shirt. And I always wash my face at the sink, so I never do it in the shower. Here I'm just kind of looking over my face. With this regimen, my skin peels a lot, so I had a lot of dry flakes on my skin as well. Alright, so the next step of this regimen includes benzoyl peroxide, and I do use 10% benzoyl peroxide even though the regimen only requires 2.5. But the reason why I do use 10% is because I've always used 10%. It was prescribed to me by a dermatologist a long time ago, so I know how my skin reacts to it, and I know my skin can handle it. Now, I do want to try the lower strength benzoyl peroxide to use every day. Morning and night, because I normally only really like to use this one at nighttime. But while doing the regimen, because I was having a breakout at this point in time, I do use it both morning and night, and it is pretty drying. So part of the process too is also the longest. It takes a while to kind of rub that benzoyl peroxide in and to really get it into the skin. And after about 3 to 5 minutes of rubbing, I really don't rub it in anymore. I just kind of let it absorb on its own, and you'll see that it does absorb pretty well. Now, with this particular benzoyl peroxide, it does leave a little bit of a residue on my skin. I've tried other brands of benzoyl peroxide, and I've had the same effect. But when I do put my makeup on over it, it's not anything that you can tell, not even in pictures. So it's not something that I mind too much. Alright, so this is what my skin looks like after all of the benzoyl peroxide is rubbed in. And the next step is to moisturize. So I do have two options for moisturizer. And honestly, this is just a moisturizer that I had in the house. It's not even something that I really like. But it does the job. So I get it, I put like 2 pumps in my hand, and then I rub my hands together. So when I rub my hands together, it just kind of gets it to a point where it's not so hard to get into my skin. And then I just pat it. And patting helps to get it into my skin without moving the benzoyl peroxide around too much, because once you do put something over the benzoyl peroxide after it has dried, it will move around. And you do want to let the benzoyl peroxide dry for about 15 minutes. So I normally go do something else, like brush my teeth or go, check on my kids. But now I just kind of rub that in. And this part can get pretty difficult too, because you will have the benzoyl peroxide moving around. And with this particular brand of benzoyl peroxide, it does kind of flake off and rub off like you see. So I do end up going back and just putting a little bit more on, just to make sure that those areas still receive the treatment. Alright, so next, the moisturizer that I use is something that I use all the time and I love it. It's Aquaphor. This is the Aquaphor Baby, but I'm pretty sure the normal regular Aquaphor works just the same, but this is just the one that I have because I also use it on my babies. And I also use this Aquaphor as an eye cream too. So normally what I'll do, I didn't do it here, is I'll put some on up under my eyes first, and then I'll get the rest, I'll rub it in my hands just like I did with the other lotion, and I'll get on tips of my fingers, and then I'll also pat it in as well. Now, the only thing about the Aquaphor is it is greasy, so a lot of times I do this at night. I don't do this before I put on any makeup, and the reason why is because my foundation is also really hydrated and it has a dewy finish, and most of the foundations that I wear do have a dewier finish, so putting that on top of this would make me extra glowy. So like I said before, I do go back and I do put a little bit of benzoyl peroxide back on just for the sections that flaked off. Alright, so yep, I'm just going back in and just putting a little bit over those spots that I have, just because I was a little concerned about some of the product coming off, and I just wanted to make sure that I still had those areas covered. And as the regimen says, you're going to use a generous amount of benzoyl peroxide, so more is always good. Now, you do want to give your skin time adjust to this. At this point in the regimen, this is my second week in it. This is the beginning of the second week for me, and my skin got clear pretty fast. I also insert some pictures that'll just show you what my skin was like before. I know this may not be really bad or severe acne to a lot of people, but for me it was pretty awful, and I wanted to get it cleared up as fast as possible. And by doing this same thing morning and night and just keeping it really, really simple, it really has cleared my skin so much. Now, as of today, this video was recorded last week, but as of today, I did start incorporating the AHA from acne.org into my regimen. So right now, I'm only doing it once a week, and I'm going to see if that helps as well. Now, typically they say don't incorporate the AHA until after a month, just so that you can make sure your skin is used to the benzoyl peroxide, and then you're adding another chemical on top of that. But because I know how my skin reacts to benzoyl peroxide, and I also know how my skin reacts to glycolic acid, I wasn't afraid to go on ahead and try it as well. And I have tried it so far. I really, really like it. My skin is noticeably clearer and extremely smooth and nowhere near as dry as it was. So this is what it looks like when I'm all done. Like I said, some of that whiteness, you see that residue, will go away, and I will put my makeup on over this and it'll look fine. And lastly, because I have the driest lips ever, I do put on a little lip balm. Alright, so that's it, guys. That is my acne.org regimen without the acne.org products, and it has been very effective for me so far, so I'll continue to keep you updated. Thanks so much for watching.